Alrighty, YouTube. I think it's time for a little talkie-walkie. This is not going to go into the hiking video that I'm currently on. It's going to be its own separate thing. But if you want to know, this is the Middle Fork Trail along the Middle Fork Snoqualmie River, somewhere between crossing of Rock Creek, heading upstream toward Goldmire Hot Springs. But we are on an old road bed, and pretty, I wouldn't say stale, but it's not exciting. It's not even in old growth forest. We're walking along a road bed through some old clear cuts, probably 40-year-old clear cuts, but still. So let's do some talkie and some walkie. Let's talk about what are the hopeful plans for this summer. Well, first of all, my father turns 60, the big 6-0, in late September, and I asked him what he would like to do, what hikes he would really like to go do, not necessarily for his birthday, but what hikes he would really like to go do. And the three things he wants to go do are all in Mount Rainier. We need to go do the Shriner Peak Trail, which is one of 4 trails that take you to fire lookouts inside Mount Rainier National Park. That is the last one of the 4 that we haven't done. No, none of them are on the channel, because 2 of them we did while I was in middle school and high school, and the last one I did with Sabrina right before I started making this channel. But so we need to do Shriner Peak. I need to go do, he wants to go up to Summerland, which is a high park area, highland park area, subalpine parkland area, south of Sunrise along the Wonderland Trail. I think you have to go up the Frying Pan Creek Trail is the best way to get to it. And the third one is to go up to, oh, I believe it's called Indian Bar. Oh, pretty much up to the top upper parkland of the Ohanapikosh River, which is also on the east side of Mount Rainier. And I want to go to all 3 of those places, but especially Indian Bar, because there's a all-weather shelter up there, and that's the upper hanging valley of the Ohanapikosh River, and there's something like a dozen waterfalls there on the Ohanapikosh River itself, and some of the streamlets dumping into it. All 3 of them are going to be tough uphill hikes. Shriner Peak especially is pretty dry and pretty open. It is on the eastern edge of Mount Rainier National Park. It is east of the mountain, so it's in the driest portion of the park, and it's also very high, so it's going to be sun-baked. The other 2 aren't going to be easy hikes either, but that one especially I know is going to be a hot day. And then I've asked Nash what he wants to do mostest, and he wants to go to take a couple hikes, at least a hike or 2 hikes, to go see Mount Stewart up close and personal, which is the big non-volcanic mountain that we could see every day of our lives when we were at Central Washington University in college. So more than likely the first hike we'll do for that is going to be to go to Ingalls Lake. Of course, if and when I do these hikes, I'll either tag them as I'm talking about them, and once I get to 5, after the 5th one, I'll put the others down in the description below. So Ingalls Lake, get up close and personal with Mount Stewart, and then he also wants, besides the obvious doing more North Cascades stuff, he wants to get more and different views of Baker, because when we went to Baker last summer, that was the first time either one of us had got anywhere near Baker, and I figured we probably should get up close and personal and go to the ski area and go do some of the trails out of there. But there's also on the west face of Baker a couple of trails that lead to climbing routes and put you right onto the glaciers, so I want to go do that too. I believe it's called Ptarmigan Ridge is what I'm thinking of. So if we go do those, again, this is all hopeful speculation, go do those. And also on the list, of course, more things up in the North Cascades. and the Pasayten Wilderness. Go see that, and the Chelan Sawtooth Wilderness. There's a couple of hikes I want to go do there. I believe it's called Silver Ridge to Gold Lake, or Gold Ridge to Silver Lake. It's silver and gold, one of those, up in the North Pasayten. And then there's one of many hikes that takes you into the very heart of the Chelan Sawtooth Wilderness, into the Sawtooth Ridge. There's lakes there, and there's one of them specifically I want to go do. Probably put the name of it there. And then obviously go do stuff from Mount Rainier, do some hiking bikes if possible. Go to the North Cascades. Sourdough Mountain would be nice to do, or 4th of July Pass or something. And obviously we also need to go to the Olympics more, go do something like Mount Townsend, go up to Mount Angeles along Hurricane Ridge, which the dang visitor center from the 1950s up there at Hurricane Ridge, if you haven't heard yet, was about to start getting a major renovation done to it, and the damn contractors accidentally burnt the thing to the ground. So hopefully the park fund will be able to pull a Sperry Chalet in Glacier and rebuild it, because Sperry Chalet burnt down in a wildfire a couple years ago. One of the two only remaining high country chalets of the 15 or 20 of them that were in Glacier National Park still standing, burnt down in a wildfire in like 2018 or 2019. And the private fund, because almost all national parks have a couple of funds. There's of course the National Park Fund, and then there's park specific funds. It's like Yellowstone has the Yellowstone National Park Fund, Yellowstone Forever, and a couple other ones. Mount Rainier does, North Cascades does, Olympics do. So hopefully someone will set up, or can set up a specific fundraiser with the Park Service to try and rebuild the visitor center, because that is one of the highlight areas of the entire park, is to go up to Hurricane Ridge and be up there, because that's also open in the winter to go like skiing and snowshoeing and sledding and stuff. And then of course, what was the top hike to go do last summer that we never were able to go do, it's going to be recycled to do this year, and that is Lost Creek Ridge in the Glacier Peak Wilderness, which is just about the easiest and most direct way to get up close views of Glacier Peak. And even that is still a 3,000 mile bun burner to the top of a ridgeline, and an at minimum a 10 or 11 mile day. Glacier Peak Wilderness is hard, man. That shit is wild. The rivers and the weather just destroy everything. There's no easy way in or up or around. And then of course, I'd like to get a couple, maybe a kayak or two in, hopefully. It's been a couple years since we've done that, which that was originally, and I think still, our highest viewed video on the channel is the kayak we did out at Diablo, and then one other kayak we did along the Snoqualmie River. It's two of the highest viewed videos on the channel. We've only done 2 kayaks, and yet those are the highest viewed ones, not including the shorts. And what started it all, what I haven't done for the channel yet, is go do some off-roading, go do some 4x4 trails. That is originally how this channel started, was just as an idea I had of, hey, I'm gonna make a social media page on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, because I found online, I'm sure a bunch of other people knew about it too. Let's check to make sure this isn't Lundeen Creek. Been passing Lundeen Falls already. Nope, but we're getting close. We got to go over Thunder Creek, which is the next named creek. Then we'll get to Lundeen Creek, and then we'll get to Goldmire. But yeah, while I was in college, junior year of college, I got a car, Rex, who is an off-road capable body-on-frame SUV. And so of course I immediately started looking up ways to go off-roading, 4x4ing. And luckily, or unluckily, depending on your views of the 4x4 community, personally, as long as people stay responsible, I don't care. But I do not like side-by-sides. They seem to be the most destructive of the bunch. Yes, the motorcycles are loud and annoying, but I'm part of a couple of the motorcycle groups for this a couple of ranger districts that allow them, and those guys work hard to keep their trails functional. They are out there all season long carrying chainsaws and cleaning trails out because there's a lot of deadfall. But anywho, a bunch of the ranger districts on Forest Service land, the east side of the mountains, still have 4x4 trails. I wish there were more 4x4 trails on this side, but for a multitude of reasons that'll be difficult. But over there, there's a couple of ranger districts that have a couple dozen 4x4 trails, and then of course a lot of that from the end of the Forest Service land to the Columbia River east. Squirrel? Squirrel? Somewhere. Oh, woodpecker. Ooh, woodpecker. Ooh, woodpecker. Pretty woodpecker. Huh. You hear them every once in a while, but you don't get to see them very often. Cool. Anywho, it's a whole bunch of state land between the edge of the Forest Service land, say somewhere between Cle Elum and Ellensburg, east to the Columbia River, like 50 or 60 miles wide swath. That's almost exclusively state land once you get out of the towns and out of the farming valleys. And they are crisscrossed with what are called green dot trails, which are 2 tracks, 4x4 trails. Some of them, I drove a bunch of them in college. Again, the original inspiration for this YouTube page was not hiking, it was 4x4ing, to catalog all the green dot trails, figure out which ones were easy, which ones were difficult, and which ones to not bother do. And some of them are no more difficult than a regular Forest Service road. Some of them, from what I've read and a couple I've stuck my nose down, are pretty serious. And I mean, these things are long. I've cataloged them in Google Earth and have them down on a spreadsheet. I'll put a quick screenshot of that there. But the total mileage of these things is like, I want to say like 500 miles, almost, no, not 500, probably like 200 or 300 miles worth of trails. And I mean, it's almost, a lot of them are out in the middle of nowhere, sage desert, which is pretty, but it's hot. You don't do it in July, August, September. You do it as soon as they melt out in April and May. Don't go on the mud. If it's muddy, turn around. Don't destroy it for the rest of us. Or you go out there in October and November before the snows start. But a lot of it does go in that ragged edge between forest and sage, where right there along the Forest Service boundaries. And a lot of them do connect to Forest Service, either roads or Forest Service trails. You can go directly from a Forest Service trail, 4x4 trail, to a green dot road trail. So hopefully we'll finally get out and go do that, because that's something I know Nash enjoys, riding shotgun. And some of them you can even take a not super capable but still fairly capable vehicle like a stock Subaru Crosstrek on. So yeah, that's the plan. A couple of hikes my dad wants to do as a little bit of a happy 60th birthday present. A couple of hikes Nash really wants to do because he doesn't get to chime in very often, which he doesn't care too much. He's learned a long time ago that if I say get in the damn car, we're going somewhere, he's getting in the damn car and going somewhere, and is more than likely going to really enjoy it. But I asked him for some input on where he really wants to go, and that's what he said. I'm gonna have to give him the hiking books here when I see him in a couple of days, when we go to a concert together, going to see Haken. Hell yeah. And he can make a longer list. But yeah, a couple hikes mountaineer for my dad, Baker, Mount Stewart. Need to keep going and nosing around the Olympics, keep nosing around the North Cascades, get a view of Glacier Peak. I mean, again, it's an endless, the more places you think of, the longer the list gets, and it just seems almost nigh impossible. But it's not impossible. As you can see, we've done almost 50 hikes by now, and we've gone and done a bunch of other things too. So 20 years from now, will I have done all 50 hikes, top 50 hikes that is on my current list, which I also post a screenshot to that there? Maybe, hopefully, probably not, but we shall see. And wow, I got done talking just as we were coming up to, I believe it's called Thunder Creek. That's called timing. Cool. So yeah, back to the regularly scheduled video.